Okay, so I just saved the last recording, and we're recording again. So over here for key 7, I need to adjust the hips again. So if this is the leg which is being stood on, we're gonna lift up the hips. So rotating them up. And lift them up to 5 because that's what I did on the other side. And then I'm gonna take the spine and I'm gonna do the opposite. So selecting the whole entire spine to adjust the shoulders, just like we did on the other side. And -3. Is that what we did on this side? Yes. Okay. I might just bring it over just a slight bit. Over the hips, over the standing leg. And finally, I'm just going to adjust the head in the front view. So it looks like it is looking at me. Keep this at -7. Okay. So hitting spacebar to toggle through my views again. And I'm just gonna hit greater than and less than to look at my keys again. On the past position, yeah, that's okay. Anyways. Yeah, hips look good, head looks good, for the most part. Oh, head. I'm just gonna check this a little bit, doing something funny. Okay, I think that's a little better. frame 4, we can adjust the hips even more. So this is where the low point in the hips are going to be. So this is where we're cushioning the momentum from the walk, the stride. So because it's a controlled fall, this is where the cushion is coming into place. So you can, from neutral, comes down. Maybe come down a little bit more. Up, and then the highest point will be at keyframe 10. Can lift it up a little bit there. So frame 4 is 0.255. So at frame 16 will be the low point as well on the other side. Minus 0.255. And then at frame 10, translate y is minus 0.035. So at frame 22, again, the high point will be okay. Now, at keyframe 4, at this breakdown, you're actually going to have your back foot still on the ground plane. So it's just about to lift off. So what we want to do is we want to come over here and highlight the foot. And this is the key that we want to copy. So we're going to come over to frame 4 and shift so we can copy it, right click copy, and paste. So that's pasting the same key. So it's just because we're only highlighting and copying the foot and then pasting that copy down here, it's only going to copy the foot. It's not going to copy the coordinates to any other parts of the rig. It's just going to copy the coordinates for the foot. But you don't want it to stay in the same spot. You want it to move back on the treadmill. So what we're going to look at is the increments of the treadmill. So I want to just come into this view, and I'm going to key through so we're moving 1, 2, 3 boxes from heel to heel. 1, 2, 3. So maybe a little less than 3. 1, 2, 3. Yeah. Okay. I have to push this heel back. One, two. Okay. It's moving the same amount of spaces in on the grid. Now, this is lifting off quite a bit. This is where we're gonna have to start manipulating the heel ball. So I haven't done this up to this point just because I wanted to keep it really simple. Now, the heel ball is part of the rig, and once you start keying it in, it'll replant your foot back onto the ground plane and it'll lift the heel. So that's really what we need in this part of the cycle. I'm just going to set this to 3, so it might go start sliding back, so this is probably 4, 5, 6, so moving from 3 to 5, and then it just lifts up. Now when I go to tweak this, the next frame, I won't even want this heel ball, so it will be stepped, but that's something that I'll fix in the cleanup stage of the lesson, so when we go into the graph editor and start cleaning it up. So doing the same thing on the other side. Here's the stride. Now on 16, again, you want the foot to be still on the ground. So we're just gonna copy and paste the foot. Now we're gonna move it back again. So I'm gonna come into my other view. Of course, my shortcuts are sticking, so that's why it's taking me a little bit of time to toggle through. You know what? I'm gonna go left. There we go. Come back in here. It's a little funky. So moving back 1, 2, 3. One, 2, 3. And then on frame 16, I'm going to hit 5. And then 3 here. Now you're going to want the opposite for the front foot. So -3. And hit make a keyframe at keyframe 4 just to zero that out. And for my stride, it doesn't have to be right on the ground plane. It can be lifted slightly. I'm just going to bring this up a little bit, just enough so that there's no, there's still a slight, just soft knee bend. So because this is hyperextended, I'm going to maybe even give it a little bit more. So notice that the knee is locking. That is not what I want at all. I don't think this is going to help me. So the only thing I can really do is just push it forward slightly so that that knee's still bending. I'm going to take keyframe 1 again and copy and paste it to 25 so that it's still the same. So notice again, between 16 and 19 and 4 and 7, you're going to see that heel value is tweening out. So what we're gonna have to do, and I'm just gonna do it now just to show you exactly how that works in the graph editor, is in the Windows, go down to Animation Editors and go to Graph Editor. And in your Graph Editor, you want to keep your view on your character still accessible while you're manipulating anything in the graph editor. So we're looking at, let's look at 19 because it's close to us, right? Or 16 because it's close to us. We're going to look at the leg that's closest to us right now. So this one right here. So whatever you select on the stage is what you're going to see in the graph editor. So heel ball is what we're looking at. I'm just going to want to flatten this out. I'm going to want it to be stepped. Up here in the graph editor, you can see all the selections. You've got splined, tangents, clamped, linear, flat, step. Now, as this moves through from 13, 14, 15, 16, that's great. 17 is where we want to get rid of that. We don't want this weirdness happening through that. So we're going to go to stepped and, or sorry, not stepped. We're going to go to and we're just going to key it, and we're going to put it back at 0. So it goes from here and up. Now when it gets here, in frame 17, we're just going to want to come back in here and just rotate it ever so slightly so that it is coming off the floor plane. So it's nice and smooth. Now I was just keying through them with the spline. It's a lot smoother. There you go. Okay, so a little bit of finessing there. And again, you're going to want to keyframe in between 19 and 25 and give it something to move the foot into the step. Because otherwise the heel roll isn't going to work. It's not going to understand how to move from here into the step. So again, I'm going to roll the heel ball up. Oop, wrong way. -3, so a nice slight heel. Ooh. Wrong manipulator. Now we're going to take the heel ball out and we're just going to roll it how we normally would. Again, heel ball, 0 it out. So it's there for a purpose. It's very helpful in the stride, coming in and out so that it's on the ground plane. But when it's in the air, when it's in motion, when it's tweening, it can be a little bit problematic. So just to check to see how it's working. Notice the knees locking out there. You want to help this out. So again, a little glitch where the foot is coming underneath where it should be. I'm just going to look and see. Where this is happening in my graph editor. It looks like this might be the problem. So it's back on, that's what I thought it was, back on the y-axis, where it should be. Great. Now, of course, my graph editor, that one rotate X is being glitchy, so we're going to take that out. I think that will fix that problem. No. There we go. Okay. Now, because this is hyperextended, I'm going to go into the heel ball and I'm just going to give it an integer of, let's say 3 or 2. I think I like 2 better. One. 3. And then that way, there's a nice cushion. It doesn't lock out that knee. So anytime you end up with a lock knee, your animation can get a little bit poppy. So that's much nicer. So the legs are working pretty good. The hips are working pretty good. Let's look at the hips again. I'm going to come in here actually before I forget. I'm going to save my scene as June 25 walk. I saved it while it was rendering of my movie, so I have saved it periodically. So June 25th walk version 2, save as my ASCII, and save as right there. Now, a couple things about the arms to address. They're very stiff, so you want to fix that up. Thinking of the arms, similar to like a combination between the box folds, so successive folds or successive bends, when one part of the arm is going to start to move down while the other one then bends and follows. And a pendulum. So at the top there's going to be hang time. As it swings through, it gets faster. And you know, slows again as there's hang time on the other side. So just looking at this arm to start. So we're going to look at, I have key 1, 7, 13, 19, and 25 on the go already. And this is just for the shoulder. So the shoulder movement, it's fine. I'd probably offset it by a key or two after we get things going. Offsetting it a key or two on either side will kind of show a little bit more of a reaction. So he's stepping, there's hang time at frame 4, and then he's going to follow through. So let's just look at the movement of the arm, independent from the body right now. It's very stiff. We haven't really added any sort of momentum, any weight, and just a slight bit timing. So at frame 7, what I'm going to do is I'm going to go to the elbow, and I'm going to straighten it out quite a bit. So it's going to lengthen out here. So it might be at -20, giving it some hang time, and then lengthen out, and then cross over and find a little bit of hang time over here. And then as it comes back, it's going to be -10 again. And back here, matching up with frame 1, is going to be at -20. You know what? I'm going to make it -25 just so it's a little bit more noticeable. -25. There we go. So doing the same thing for this side. -25. -25. And notice I probably keyed this at 7 and it didn't key. So we're going to key this again. And we're going to go to -10 or -10. I just want to check something. On this side we had okay. And I'm just going to change where the arms are, because this leg's in front. I want this arm to be in front too. I'm just going to rotate it again. Just in front slightly, and then bring this one just in behind slightly. Rotate this one out because it looks like and this is not the best rig in the world by any means, especially for the arms, but it's okay. So moving this one behind a little, moving this one front. Just a little bit. Okay. A little better timing. Now, as the body moves down, you're going to find that there's hang time. So this is where your breakdown for key 4 will help for some of the movement. So bringing it up just a little bit, maybe not even that much. So it's a little bit of hang time, and then this is where the wrist will start to follow. Maybe a little bit at 7. Breaking the wrist a little bit more. And then as it moves up to 13, has some hang time. 16 is where we're gonna have to favor the low again. Ooh, that should be -10. That's why that's doing that. And then breaking the wrist at that point. Favoring this one. Oh. Let's see. It's still looking quite stiff. Might need a little bit more exaggeration. So looking a bit better that way. So working the same thing on this side. 1, 7, 13, 19, and 25 are our keys. So allowing 4 to favor key 1. So breaking the wrist as it drags and gets pulled. Keyframe 7. Drag the wrist still a little bit. The elbow, we can exaggerate that even more, so -5. And then allowing it to slow out into the back position. So again, the down, favoring 13. breaking the wrist as it moves forward. Breaking the wrist again. I'm going to exaggerate the pendulum here, -5. Favoring the keyframe. Now if we want to offset the arms just a little bit, always go into the graph editor, so we're just going to offset the arms here. Just pause my recording for a second.